I would ask that if you don't we have a long agenda today. If you don't have a question that pertains to how you're going to vote or helps assist you in your vote, if you could limit your comments just to try to get through this quicker. But if you feel it's very important that you still comment, that's fine. Just know that you can always email staff. We can always get through it that way. So with that, I am going to ask Wayman to quickly read some instructions, and then we will call the meeting to order. Wayman?
Yes. Pursuant to Governor Whitmer's Executive Order 2020-48, the Kent County Board of Commissioners, in order to protect the public, is conducting its meeting via electronic communications. Any member of the public wishing to listen to the proceedings or provide public comment may do so by using the internet connection or phone numbers and passcodes listed on the video screen, or through the documents that were posted publicly. If you have public comment that you'd like to make, you must raise your hand through Zoom chat or through public.michigan.org. public.comment@mi.gov. I'm sorry. It is public comment@kentcountymi.gov. Sorry about that. But if there's a disruption during the meeting by use of offensive language or actions that are offensive, you will be muted during this board meeting. With that, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Wayman. So we were going to call the meeting to order. Welcome, Kent County. Anyone who normally doesn't join us and you're joining us from the comforts of your home, welcome to the Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, April 23rd. We're glad you're joining us today. We have a lengthy agenda. A lot of it is related to the pandemic we're dealing with right now. I hope we can get through this very efficiently. We hope members of the public did get those instructions, and you can trying to kind of stall a little bit to give you time to get your questions in or your hands raised for public comment. So know that going forward, we do have public comment at the beginning related to the agenda and public comment at the end for any general county matter. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Commissioners Vonk.
Here.
Antor.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Jones. Commissioner Jones. Vice Chair Steck.
Here.
Commissioners Ponstein.
Here.
Voorhees. Commissioner Voorhees.
I'll remind members you have to unmute.
I know you're there. There we go. Commissioners Coleman.
I'm here.
Breevy.
Here.
Thiel.
Here.
Sparks.
Present.
Melton.
Here.
Okay.
Hennessy.
Here.
Talon.
Present.
Volkowski.
Present.
Womack. Commissioner Womack. Commissioner Wooden.
Here.
Skaggs.
Here.
Chair Bolter.
Here, and I just want to double check, did we have Commissioner Jones and Commissioner
Yes.
Womack
She
here?
is out there, and I do see Commissioner Womack as well, so I don't know what happened on their hears.
Commissioner Womack.
But I saw him earlier.
Diane Jones, do you have me?
Yes.
I do now, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Womack, are you there and unmuted?
You see him on
You
the,
have to hit *6 to unmute if you're on the phone.
you see him out there, guys? Okay, he must have had some technical difficulties. He'll probably come right back on. I saw him earlier before the start of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Wayman. I continue to call all commissioners during all roll calls anyway, so we'll catch him when he's on. Madam Chair, you have 18 members present, 1 absent. You have a quorum. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are on to invocation, and I'll call on Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the invocation this morning. The first one I've done over Zoom. Dr. Eric Mitchell, I believe, is on with us. Dr. Mitchell is a surgeon with West Michigan Surgical Specialists. In addition to his general surgery duties, Dr. Mitchell is the trauma director for Metro Hospital. He and his wife, Erin, live with their 5 children in Byron Center. Dr. Mitchell and his family serve regularly in Christian ministries throughout Africa. Their most recent trip, unfortunately, stopped due to COVID-19. In addition, Dr. Mitchell is a triathlete and a great personal friend. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thanks for the invitation. It's my pleasure to open us up in a word of prayer. So let's pray. God, we love you, and we thank you for joining us together today. Lord, we recognize that we are in unprecedented times as we deal with a pandemic not seen by many generations. Lord, we know that you created this world and you sustain it, and we are but sinful man trying to make our way. I pray that as we go about each day, that our lives would give you glory, as that's the reason we were put on this earth. Lord, with that in mind, I pray during this for this meeting and during this COVID pandemic, Lord, that you would give us wisdom, that you would surround us with wise people and wise counsel. I pray for our leaders, the President of the United States. I pray for our governor, the city mayors, and our county officials, Lord, that you would give them wisdom to make good decisions, and may your blessing be on their shoulders. I pray for our medical providers, my personal friends and colleagues, as they deal with sick patients, uncertainty, and also risk to themselves. Lord, I pray for our business owners in the community as they struggle with very difficult decisions and how to keep their businesses going, knowing that there's many families underneath their care as well. I pray for those that are vulnerable in our communities, those who have very few resources and live on a thin margin, Lord. I pray that you would sustain them. And for all those that are scared, all those that are anxious and unsure, I pray that they would put their faith and trust in you, as that's what's most important. I pray, Lord, that this group would put away any selfish motives, that they would come together and lead our county well during this meeting. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mitchell. That was a wonderful prayer, and we really appreciate you joining us today and leading us in that. Thank you so much. All right, we are on to item 4, Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have a flag somewhere visible? Yay, we do. Let's pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
Hello?
Somebody's muted, guys. Hold on, Mandy. You're muted. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, I can't see myself for whatever reason, but
We see you.
okay. All All right, we are on to item 5, public comment. Did we get anything through the email, or do we have any hands up today, Wayman?
No, nothing yet, Madam Chair. You want
Okay.
maybe to give it a couple of minutes or?
Yep, we'll give it a minute or so.
Yeah. Do we have anything, guys? Nothing yet. No public comment, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other hands up anywhere?
No, nothing.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on. I do want to ask members, we do have roll call for each item, and we will have motions and seconds. Can you please give me your last name when you do those motions so that I know, and for the minutes, we know who is making those motions. So I will go to item 6, standing committee appointment. I'll call on Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I am pleased to move for approval of the revised order of appointment to standing committees, which is identified in attachment 6, page 6 of the agenda packet, which replaces former Commissioner Jim Softfield with new Commissioner Lizzie Thiel.
Great. Moved by Commissioner Steck, support by
Commissioner Breve.
Support by Diane Jones.
Commissioner Breve. Questions or comments on this? And again, I can't unfortunately see anyone. So I'm going to have to defer to Wayman on any chats or hands up.
No hands up, Madam Chair.
No hands up
Chair.
for questions?
It's Talon.
Oh, Commissioner Talon?
Just a question for clarification. Is this not a board chair appointment as opposed to something that needs to be approved by the Board of Commissioners?
Still needs to be voted on.
Linda?
Under Standing Rule 4.2, all appointments to the standing committees are subject to approval of the board.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
No, Madam Chair.
All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt the standing committee appointment, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Cantor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Kallman,
Yes.
Breve,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Volkowski,
Yes.
Womack, Commissioner Womack, Commissioner Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The standing committee appointment is adopted.
Great. We are on to item 7, consent agenda, and I'll call on Commissioner Kallman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the consent agenda, including 4 resolutions.
Moved by Commissioner Kallman, support by
Supports.
Commissioner Melton.
Melton supports.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Kallman, support by Commissioner Melton. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? Any hands up, Wayman?
No hands up, Madam Chair. No hands up.
No hands up. All right. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Cantor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Breby,
Yes.
Commissioners Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Volkowski,
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Commissioners Wood,
Yes. Sorry.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're on to item 8, resolutions, and I will call on Commissioner Hennessy for resolution 8A.
I move resolution 8A as of today's date.
Number 38.
Yes, the land-based administration technician 1 position for the Bureau of Equalization.
Thank you.
Support by Melton.
Moved by Commissioner Hennessy, support by Commissioner Melton. Questions or comments on this resolution?
Commissioner Ponstein has his hand raised.
Commissioner Ponstein.
And I don't know how that happened off my phone, but my hand is not raised.
All right, any other hands up for questions?
Okay, sorry.
Any
No other
questions
hands
on-
raised, Madam Chair.
Any questions on 38?
No hands.
All right, seeing none, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 423-2038, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Oh, Lisa, we lost you a second. You're muted.
oh, don't know how that happened. Did you hear me call Coleman?
Yep.
Yes.
Coleman. Did you hear me call Commissioners Breby?
Yes.
Commissioners Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Volkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2038 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're on to 8B, and I'll call on Commissioner Womack.
Yes.
To move
Okay.
8B.
I can't find my paper because my screen is ticking up.
All right, you're moving resolution 8B, number 39 of today's date, moved by Commissioner Womack, support by
Support.
Support by Commissioner Brebe.
support by Commissioner Breby. Questions or comments on this issue? Any hands up?
No hands up, Madam Chair. No hands.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 423-2039, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Have to unmute.
Commissioner Antor,
Sorry. Yes.
Commissioners Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Breeby,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 4-23-2039 is adopted.
Great, thank you. We're on to 8C, and I'll call on Commissioner Breeby.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I move Resolution 423-2040, the Kent County Community Action Budget Amendment, Emergency Food Assistant and Commodity Supplement Food Program from the Kent County Community Action Agency.
Great, moved by Commissioner Breeby, support by
Melton,
Support by
Sparks.
Support by Commissioner Melton. Questions or comments on this issue from anyone? Hands up. Or in the chat.
No hands. No hands.
I'm sorry, just a quick point of order. I thought it was Commissioner Sparks that seconded that, not Commissioner Melton.
I'm sorry, I heard Betsy first.
That's fine.
No hands, Madam Chair.
All right, we will call the roll. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 4-23-2040, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioner Sunstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Breeby,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 4-23-2040 is adopted.
Great, we are on to 8D, and I'll call on Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I move resolution number 42 of today's date. It's the County Veteran Services, hold on. It's
41.
Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program Grant for the Sheriff's Department.
Number 41, moved by Commissioner Voorhees, support by Commissioner
Sparks.
Sparks.
Mhm.
Questions or comments on this issue?
No
Put a
hands.
Put a hand up, put a chat up.
No hands, no chat.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt 4-23-2041, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Constein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Breeby,
Yes. Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon, Commissioner Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2041 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're on to 8E, and I will call on Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move motion 423-2043. Oops, sorry, 423-2042. County Veteran Services Fund 2020 grant for veteran services. Thank you.
Moved by Commissioner Sparks, support by Commissioner Voorhees. Moved by Commissioner Sparks, support by Commissioner Voorhees. Questions or comments on this issue? Hands up or chat.
Nothing, Madam Chair.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Here,
please-
actually, Chair Bolter.
Yep.
Skaggs.
Go ahead, Commissioner Skaggs.
Thank you. Listened in on the Finance Committee report on this and the discussion about the advertising campaign. I understand it's not directly part of this resolution, but I would encourage staff to reconsider the exact details of this advertising campaign. I think we have a very targeted audience here, veterans and those that care for veterans, and there may be wiser ways to spend this money in a more targeted campaign other than just a broadcast television campaign to the public. Certainly, we ought to use the resources that we have on, say, direct mail or social media to really make sure that we're getting the best bang out of our buck for the ad campaign. In hopes that most of it is for actual delivery of services. Thank you, Chair.
Yep. Any other comments?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, any other comments today? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 423-2042, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Reevy,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2042 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll call on Commissioner Melton for Resolution 8F.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 423-2043 concerning the addition of 1 full-time clerk to position at the Kent County Veterans Services.
Moved by Commissioner Melton, support by
Womack.
by Commissioner Womack. Questions or comments on this issue?
Nothing? No hands, no comments, Madam Chair.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 423-2043, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Reevy,
Yes.
Thiel,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2043 is adopted.
Great, thank you very much. We are on to Resolution 8G, and I'll call Commissioner Brebe.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I move Resolution 44 of today's date, Community Services Block Grant Appropriation related to the CARES Act for the Kent County Community Action Agency.
Moved by Commissioner Brebe, support by
Sparks.
Commissioner Sparks. Questions or comments on this issue?
Yes, Commissioner Steck?
Commissioner Wooden. Commissioner Wooden, you have to unmute.
Forgive me, sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is, in finance, I had asked for the service and spending plan that we had to submit to the state. I don't know if I've received that yet, or the commission has as well. Certainly I'm going to be voting to accept the federal dollars, but could we please get a copy of the plans that we had sent to the state so we can see more in a more detailed way how we're spending these dollars?
Wayman?
Yes, that plan should have gotten out to you. Pam Van Kuren, could you make sure that he gets that, the entire board gets that, because Susan did forward it.
Great. Looks like Commissioner Hennessy has a question.
Is this program also going to be allowed to help with more, it says mortgage assistance, but with payment assistance for renters?
Susan Cervantes is on the phone. She can probably answer that, Madam Chair.
Susan, are you there?
I am. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. And the question was, I couldn't hear very well.
If it will also help with rental assistance payments.
Yes.
Good,
It will
thank
help with the security deposit, rent arrearages, and first month's rent.
It'll help for payments that are in arrears.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Commissioner Steck?
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I had a couple of questions. One of them maybe was already addressed, and that is the detailing of what the funding is intended to be spent on. But maybe as a supplement of that is, for Susan, are these going to be new programs, or are these funds going to be basically used to supplement existing programs that we are already implementing at KCCA?
Good morning, Commissioner Steck. We have 2 programs that we are going to expand. That would be the homeless prevention, and that's for the rent assistance, the mortgage payments, and then the utility assistance. As you know, we did not receive the amount of utility assistance this year that we usually do. We took a 84% cut. So it will go to utility assistance. But there are 2 components of this specific assistance that are new. One is going to be a personal products pantry, which will allow our customers to receive cleaning supplies, toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrushes, anything hygienic that we can give to them that they can't afford right now and that are in low supply. And then the other one is going to be a special needs response component. That one is going to be dictated by the clients themselves. It could be the possibility that they need assistance with burial services, car insurance, or car repairs. They might need, it depends on what they ask us for, and it would be in response to consequences from the COVID virus.
Thank you. My other question is, I note that the qualification is modified, and that it's going up to, I think it's 200% of the poverty level is a qualifying condition for these funds. Is that something that we have set, or is that set under CARES or by the granting agency?
That was actually set by the Federal Office of Community Services, where we do receive our funding from. And we are very much in support of that poverty guideline going up, because we will be able to help more people who had an income or who are just getting back on their feet with their income. And so we will be able to help like the category of the working poor.
Do we have any idea as to how many additional residents that might include at this point?
Well, when you look at the census data and when they dictate their statistics, they usually use the 125% of poverty as those that are in poverty or at 100% of poverty. We do believe that this will increase the clients that we are going to help by, it will probably double who we can help. Years past, we used to be able to help at the 200% of poverty level, and it had gone down probably 4 years ago to 150% of poverty. So we do feel as if this will bring in new clients.
But the 200% will only apply to this funding stream?
Actually, the Office of Community Services has allowed us to apply this to our current community services block grant, so that there's consistency throughout the block grant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bulkowski, you had a hand up?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Chair. Hey, Susan, thanks for all y'all are doing. I imagine things are pretty busy at the so-called front lines. That being said, with this influx of support, and yesterday I had opportunity to read through, like, the United Way is granted like $1.7 million to various agencies to help with the same kind of collection of needs. What kind of coordination is occurring, and what kind of joint reporting is going on with these services and dollars?
Well, currently we're working through the Essential Needs Task Force to do our coordination of the funding. Through the Coalition to End Homelessness, we're dealing with the homeless prevention. We are required to use the same system, and there's a coordinated entry with the Salvation Army. And so we're in the planning stages, but there is a system already set up that will help us to not duplicate services so that we can help the most in need.
Did I answer your
All right,
questions?
thank you. Yep, thank you.
Mrs. Skaggs.
Commissioner Skaggs?
Yes. I just wanted to echo what some other people have said, that obviously this is a significant amount of money, and it looks like additional money will be coming in, and so that we can do our budgetary oversight. It would be nice to continue to get some report backs on where we're spending this money. I think obviously the news that Susan gave is extraordinarily good about the people that we're going to help. I know that this pandemic is causing all sorts of personal difficulties for many people in the county, and I think our ability to assist them to make it through is fantastic. But just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence here on budgetary oversight. So the more information we can get on this, the better. Thanks.
Great. Any other hands up, any other chat, any other questions?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, seeing none, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 423-2044, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Reevy,
Yes.
Teal,
Yes.
Sparks,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bukowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2044 is adopted.
Wonderful, thank you. We are on our last resolution, Resolution H, and I will call on Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my pleasure to introduce Resolution 423-2045 to reject the Officers Compensation Commission recommendation for the chair, vice chair, and members of the County Board of Commissioners. It comes to us from us, the Board of Commissioners.
Second, Skaggs.
Moved by Commissioner Wooden, support by Commissioner Breivy. Questions or comments on this issue?
Commissioner Ponstein has a hand up.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you so much. I fully support the resolution. During the Finance Committee, I know Commissioner Bukowski questioned why this went through the Finance Committee. And that's something that's always concerned me, and this is probably a conversation that we need to have at a later date. But I think we need some clarification what the role of the Finance Committee is and what the legislative. Because when the reason came that the reason this went through is because it had to deal with financing, then all things should go through the Finance Committee and the legislative should just be, you know, gotten rid of, and we just do everything as a committee as a whole. Because in my 12 years on the commission, the role of that legislative committee has dwindled more and more. And I always hear the statement that the Finance Committee does the heavy lifting. So that's a conversation for another day, but I do have a concern of what the roles are of our two standing committees.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponstein. Linda, do you want to address kind of what you had mentioned in finance?
Thank you, Chair. To my knowledge, this is the first time we've had an actual rejection of an OCC recommendation come forward. I've already made a note for our next review of the standing rules to clarify this within the standing rules. That would address Commissioner Ponstein's question so that we can clarify this going forward. The statute obviously is silent on this because every county does their standing committees differently. And so since most things in our world go through standing committees, the catch-all phrase within the Finance Committee delegation that financial things go through the Finance Committee was the place to put it for this round. But like I said, I've already made a note for next spring when we revisit the standing rules to clarify this.
Great. Any other hands up? Any other chat?
Commissioner Wooden.
Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just I want to appreciate the Finance Committee for approving this unanimously on Tuesday, and just think that this is the wise move to make given the challenges that are out there. Thanks again for the approval and for this being introduced.
Great. Commissioner Hennessy.
Thank you. I appreciate the work of the Officers Compensation Commission. They did a lot of work. They did a lot of examination. And this is certainly not to put down the work that they did. But, you know, the world has changed very fast, and it is only right that we take this action and, you know, refuse, turn down this pay recommendation for an increase. The entire world around me, as I look out my front window, are hurting because of work issues. And it's only right that, you know, we, even if it's a little bit of a symbolic gesture, that we do this and that we do something to show our solidarity with all of the people around us who are financially hurting and emotionally hurting as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Hennessy. Any other comments, questions?
Yes.
Looks like Commissioner
Yes, Commissioner
Talon.
Talon. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the intent of this resolution and recognize the probable unanimous consent that it'll get. I'd also like to offer a couple observations about it. The generally understood purpose of officers' compensation commissions, and we have them at all levels of government, state, cities, counties, the understood purpose is to depoliticize the compensation of elected officials. The idea is that compensation should be independently set, excuse me, and should be based on data like how time is spent doing the work and how our local compensation compares to that in other similar places and situations. I have some concern about whether this action perhaps repoliticizes our compensation. We're not highly paid. In my case, I end up earning around $15 an hour, which is quite a bit more than minimum wage, but wouldn't be considered a living wage for a household of 2 people like mine. The amount that this resolution saves, $22,000 a year or $44,000 over the 2-year period, is a drop in the bucket in the context of our entire budget. And we have no indication in the financial projections that we heard from staff so far that the county is going to be in big financial trouble. And as we all know, since the filing deadline was this week, it is an election year, or as is affectionately known, the silly season. At my age, I like to think I've seen it all, or at least most of it. What we're going through now with the global pandemic is destroying that idea. I have no idea what the future is going to bring us with this situation. Will our economy significantly rebound before the OCC recommendations even take effect? Or will we be in even deeper financial trouble than we were 10 to 12 years ago with the recession? I just don't know. So this resolution gives me some pause. It's not as black and white for me as it is perhaps for many of my colleagues. I sincerely thank the OCC for its work, and I look forward to continuing to work on other substantive efforts of our county government, like so many of the other items we already approved this morning on our agenda as we respond to the pandemic. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Skaggs.
Thank you, Chair. I just wonder if we've heard from the other statutory officers that are elected about their thoughts on or willingness to forego their raises under the OCC recommendation.
I have spoken to a couple of them. My main concern in bringing this up was not to create like a small panic within the full-time employees. The other countywide officers are full-time employees and we are part-time employees. So I was trying to create a differentiation between the two. I don't think that means we will probably be able to avoid rejecting theirs as well. We do have until the end of the year to do it. We obviously need to look at that before the budget gets approved in November, but this is kind of the first step in moving forward. We certainly will be looking at that as well, or at least that's my intention.
So at this point, no one has stepped forward and asked to reject their raises.
Not formally, not proactively and formally at this point. I hadn't heard from anyone.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. Just for a matter of record, I believe, at least in my 12 years, this is the second time we've rejected the increase. And I believe maybe about 10 years ago, we actually took a cut. And so, which I was supportive then on that cut, and I'm also supportive of this not getting the raise. And for all the reasons that everyone stated, I think we are compensated pretty well, and I appreciate serving the community. And I just think this is a good road to take right now during this pandemic. I think it does set a standard for others maybe to follow, and I'm just will be happily supporting this.
Great, Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. Couple of things. I also wanted to acknowledge the Officers Compensation Committee for their work. I know that this is not the easiest assignment we hand out as commissioners, but I think they did credible work in this process. But to Commissioner Talon's observations, I think that the report came out before we fell into the COVID-19 world, and so it predates that, and so I think it challenges whether or not that committee or that commission would have done the same thing if it had done it 30 days later. In either event, under the statute, as I understand it, we only have two options. We do nothing or we reject it in whole. With respect to ours, we can't go back and say, well, we should only do X% or that. But in this environment, I think the most appropriate thing for us to do as commissioners is to send the message. You're right, it's not a lot of money, but it's only appropriate in this environment to send the message that we understand what's going on out there. We understand the pain that's being experienced, and we decline these increases. Finally, just noting the increase that we're declining, if this is approved, is a 2-year recommendation. So as I understand it, it would be effective for not only 2021, it would be also 2022's proposed increase.
Yes. Commissioner Womack.
Yes, I believe that it's very paramount at this time that we show solidarity with the American workers on the other side of this pandemic. As we come out of the stay home, stay safe order, I believe there will be Americans and people here in Michigan that won't have a living wage at all, even if that be temporarily. We're going to lose some small businesses. It's projected that our economy will not be the same. So I'm just very happy that we have an opportunity today to show everybody that even though we're elected officials, we're still civil servants. And when our communities are hurting, that we are doing everything we can to make sure that our state, our local government, our county, in our pay raise, if we were to accept it, even our county, our cities, our suburban areas, our townships, our federal government, our small businesses won't be the only one hurting. Every penny is going to count, and I will be voting against our pay raises today, and I'm so glad that people put work in it. And I also am very grateful that the Officers Compensation Commission has continued to do this nonpartisan and without any input from us suggesting these raises for the work that we do. But as it was said by one of our commissioners, they did this before this pandemic. And I just think today that's going to be a great sign to all of our constituents that we are in this fight with them. We understand what's going on financially at every level. And I definitely will be supporting turning down our pay raise for this year. Thank you very much.
Great. Commissioner Ponstein, are you up for a second time on this?
Yes. So
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify something. Commissioner Antor had mentioned that we had done this before. We didn't really do the exact thing. When this happened 10, 11 years ago, the recommendation from the OCC was a $2,000 pay cut for county commissioners, and then we accepted that. So we didn't reject the recommendation, but it was dealt with by the OCC.
Great. Any other questions or comments on this resolution? I don't see any chat. Any
None.
hands up?
No hands up, no chat.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 4-23-2045, Commissioners Vonk,
Yes.
Antor,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stuck,
Yes.
Commissioners Ponstein,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Steele, Yes. Sparks. Commissioner Sparks.
Yes.
Commissioners Melton,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Bulkowski,
Yes.
Womack,
Yes.
Wooden,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 423-2045 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are on to item 9 of our agenda, which is public comment related to any county matter. Have we received any public comment, Wayman, in the email or anything on chat?
No chat, no email, Madam Chair, for public comment. None.
Give it a little bit here. All right, if we don't have any public comment, we check one last time.
There is none.
All right, we're going to move on to commissioner reports and hands up or chat. Who has a report
Madam
today?
Chair.
Looks like Commissioner
Madam Chair.
Breeby. Breeby and then Morgan.
Okay.
Chair, I just have a brief report from DPW. So services are continued to being provided at the South Kent Landfill, Waste to Energy, and the North Kent Transfer Station. DPW staff is currently developing plans, and as you know, the Recycling and Education Center has been closed, but they're developing plans to reopen that center and process materials within a few weeks, and we'll have more information to come, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Hey, I asked Tori Richardson, the executive director of the airport, to put out just a kind of a summary of what's going on out there, and it should be in your inbox. So Pam was gracious enough to send that out. So I just want the commissioners to look for that, and I want to keep them informed of what's going on out there. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Melton.
Thank you, Chair. It's not a report per se of a board that is part of the commission board, but I did want to just share because I know that this is something that is going to be an ongoing challenge for all of us in the community. For the first time in about 2 months, the Sheldon House Group board got together and per Zoom. It is amazing to me how well our community has responded for those who are involved in mental illness challenges, and they really have stepped up. They have used as much resources, as many resources as they can, and I have been very impressed. I know there's a lot more that needs to be done, but I just thought some good news would be appropriate for this morning.
Great. Thank you so much. We're Commissioner Steck. Unmute.
There we go. Sorry. Thank you, Chair Bolter. Just to follow up on the last comment from Commissioner Melton. At Network 180, I want to acknowledge them. What they have done is to identify and implement a program for teletherapy that is now being made available to the entire community, that allows for any individual to contact them by phone in order to seek assistance in any type of behavioral health concern or issues or circumstance. So another example of where our county has stepped to the occasion in addressing a pressing need, and acknowledge them for that.
Great. Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. The Grand Rapids DDA met earlier this month initial approval of the budget for next year, approved a number of Downtown Development Authority liquor licenses, which are different than standard liquor licenses. We extended funding for the Downtown Ambassadors Program, which hopefully you all have experienced at some point while enjoying downtown. And probably one of the more interesting things was approval for the infrastructure improvements required for the installation of public restroom on Division Avenue. It's a specially designed unit called a Portland Loo, installed on the corner of Division and Oaks, the southeast corner. The water and sewer work for that will be happening this spring, and hopefully the installation will be done this summer and open for use sometime in July. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Hennessy.
Yes, I would like to just tell everybody that our senior services are still up and running under our senior millage services. Our agencies have become very proactive in reaching out to their own clients and checking on their well-being. But now there is also now a new COVID-19 senior support service that is available, where individuals or caregivers or neighbors may, ask to have wellness checks made on seniors that they know of. And so we are really doing a strong outreach to make sure that our seniors, remain in touch and remain well during this time. And the Area Agency on Aging can be called, for information for assistance. And its number is 456-5664. It's also available on the web. You'd be able to see it. And I believe that there is a story on MLive as well. But we want to get the word out that we are reaching out and keeping in touch during these times.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Hennessy. Any other official reports today?
Yes, Madam Commissioner Bolter.
Commissioner Bonk, and then was that Diane?
Yes.
Commissioner Bonk, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This isn't a report, but it's a request for a report. We have a drone program with the DPW. We've seen films of that in use and so forth. I understand by a resident asked me to ask this question: does the Sheriff Department have a drone program? And if so, how is it used, the cost, the legality, and how it is used? And has it been used with circumstances with this pandemic? I'm not really concerned by FAA ruling, but I just thought I'd ask the question. If we could have a one-page review, if we do have that in place, I would like to know about that. And in a little time, that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
Yep, we'll have staff approach the sheriff and get some information sent to us.
Sure, absolutely.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. Just a note, hopefully everyone has been following the challenges and the plan that Experience Grand Rapids has been executing. They did have to furlough a number of employees. And this is, as we all know and continue to talk about, the COVID impact. The impact on our tourism is very significant. In chatting with Doug Small, which I have a number of times, he has shared that that the hotels are seeing folks that might be hospital workers that want to keep their exposure from their families. But of course, this was significant enough for him to have to furlough a number of employees, and they also took pay cuts. So I just wanted to make sure that the board know, especially as we were looking at our pay, we're not the only entity that had this happen. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Jones. Any other official reports today? I don't see anything in chat. I don't see any hands up. All right, we're gonna move on to miscellaneous. Who has miscellaneous today? Commissioner Hennessy and then Commissioner Ponstein.
I don't have anything under that. I have a report.
All right, Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I just want to, the MAC board had a meeting with the governor on Tuesday. I just want to highlight a couple things that she said. She spent about 25 minutes with us, gave us a good review of where the state's at. We're still the 10th largest state in the country. We have the third most COVID cases. Good news out of the call was the April revenue sharing payment and the PPT for April. Both of those should come out as promised. They're looking at about a $3 billion shortfall this year for this fiscal year. They should be able to work through that. The bigger question is going to be the budget for next year. If everyone doesn't know, half of the state budget is pass-through dollars back to the local units. One thing that I was happy to hear her say, and I know Democrats and Republicans don't like me for my stance on this, but the May 5th election is a go. I have the utmost trust in our local units to provide a safe place to vote and to make sure that the vote is secure. If people don't feel safe going, absentee ballots are still available, so they don't have to go in person. And then finally, she had brought up on what she is kind of looking at to reopen the state government. It was nice to hear that she's gathering people from the health sector, the business sector, and they are working with the University of Michigan to come up with a plan to rank not only the safety of businesses, but assessing what risks they may have, and then give them a grade and a score, and then from there work off a list of those that are least risky and get those open first and kind of go into this gradually. It is a tough battle. Each state is dealing with this different. I think we can all get through it, and hopefully we all can agree to work together to get through this, because there are going to be some challenges coming up. Just a few basic other comments. I heard Commissioner Breivy mention that the recycling facility is still closed. I want people, if they do recycling, contact your local trash hauler. My trash hauler, Aero Waste, has a alternate place to bring recyclables. In the recent months, they have purchased Everkept, which is another big trash hauler. So a lot of recycling is still being picked up. If you're not leaving it out, check with your hauler to make sure that they aren't stopping and then your container's not out. And then if many have heard that the MAC legislative conference that was set was canceled, a lot of the speakers that were going to be attending that conference have agreed to do virtual, and those are available to watch to any county commissioner, any county staff that wants to. There's a wide variety of speakers with a lot of expertise. All you have to do is go to the MAC website. It's free. There's no charge to do it, and you can join these video conferences. And then one last push is that on that same MAC website, there's a link to action where if there's a legislation, whether at the federal or the state level, that affects counties, there's a link where you can just click on it and it automatically sends an email to your representatives that represent your area on any topics of concerns for county government. And thank you.
Great update. Thank you, Commissioner Ponstein. Commissioner Wooden?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had just thanks again for in advance of receiving the expenditure and service plan for the community service block grants. I know the additional CARES Act funding that we're expecting was alluded to in executive committee. If anything, I wanted to request that once we get further guidance and once that funding is forthcoming, that we get a degree more, we get more of the information in advance of how we're going to be spending those dollars prior to accepting those funds, if we do have to accept those funds by the commission. You know, it's a much larger sum of money. It's $114 million potentially. And I just want to make sure that the elected body has time to scrutinize how those dollars will be spent effectively so that we can create as robust a response to this outbreak as possible.
Great. Commissioner Melton.
Thank you, Chair. This morning in Executive Committee, it was brought up just a little bit, talking about the county as a whole's response to when the stay safe, stay home perhaps is starting to be lifted. And I would like to encourage that we truly stay as much as we can, given the uncertainty, ahead of this, as opposed to trying to play catch up. As Adam London, and he's just so wonderful. I listen to him every day. Adam, if you're there, I just listen to you every day. It's so nice. But he certainly can tell you that our numbers in Kent County of persons with COVID are increasing. I have a feeling, talking to my peers in the medical community, that we will probably peak after this has been lifted. And so it would be nice, again, for us as a county to have a plan in place for what it's going to look like if, in fact, it comes down to individual counties, cities. It certainly has taken shape this way in other states as we watch them start to come out of this. And I just, again, really encourage that we be proactive as opposed to trying to play catch up.
All right. Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a reminder that the Veterans Home currently is still on lockdown, not unlike a lot of other assisted living facilities. But these guys are particularly hit hard because we're talking World War II, Korean War veterans, Vietnam. Some of them are very old, and they are literally stuck in those little rooms. And it's not the fault of the Veterans Home or anything else. It's just a matter of fact, and they're dealing with it as they're instructed to. But given that, we are going to, with the help of Sheriff Young, by the way, and I really appreciate it, we've been in contact with the folks at the Veterans Home, and we're going to do a procession down there next week. And Sheriff Young will be there with Kent County Sheriff's Department. We'll have the Granville Police Department, Wyoming Police Department, Kentwood PD, Grand Rapids Fire and Police, and we're going to do a procession and bring all the soldiers out to their windows at least so they can look down. And as this procession passes both the front and the back of the buildings, these officers will be getting out of their cars, and they're going to be giving a slow salute to all the residents in the windows. And we'll be having a sign that we'll pull behind, just thanking them for their service. And it's just an acknowledgement that we haven't forgot them. And I think it's going to be a real special moment. And to that effect, I wanted to mention one other thing. We are currently looking at what are we going to do with the old Veterans Home. With the new construction that's going on down there, it's going to be a single floor facility with all kinds of new stuff. It's going to be beautiful. They're probably halfway through their construction. But now what happens to the rest of the building? And we are building a coalition right now of individuals, both private and public, that would like to see, one of the goals of our organization, see a world-class mental health facility located here in West Michigan that can deal with PTSD. We're still losing 22 veterans per day to suicide. I've personally been touched by several stories right here from Kent County, and they're just heartbreaking. And it's our commitment to bring this facility to fruition where we can be the center for people coming from across the country. So the ones that are getting rejected, when they're going out west to seek help with the VA, a lot of them are getting rejected. We want to have a facility where they can come to and be seen without question. So if anybody has any questions about that, feel free to give me a call and let me know where we're at and what our plan is to make this happen. And I've always said I'm not going to rest until this actually happens. We have a great opportunity right now and some great players coming on board. So that was it for that. Appreciate this meeting. These meetings are going better and better every time, and I appreciate everybody that puts these together.
Thank you. What date is that again, Commissioner Antor?
We're looking at the weather right now. Right now it's looking like Wednesday, and it'll be mid-morning. I have to coordinate with fire and police and just make sure we want a good day. So even the classic car guys that'll show up, everyone has to stay in their cars. We will have to adhere to all the social distancing, but we want a day where at least people, can come out and enjoy a wasn't there. But I'll make sure everybody's notified of the date and the time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I just wanted to acknowledge Wayman and our staff for continuing to put on these weekly community informational that are, I think we have another one on this Friday. These, I think, are valuable sources of information to disseminate throughout our community and are really useful. I would also encourage them as we hopefully move into the next phase of the COVID-19 world, that is the reopening phases and the re-energizing of our economy, that we continue to perhaps look at having these meetings as that source of information, and information about that process is equally important to our community.
Thank you. Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I wanted to briefly follow up on Commissioner Ponstein's sharing about the MAC conference. I've had the fortune to be able to attend a number of the sessions. The opening keynote from our Chief Justice was good, and yesterday a great session on the Open Meetings Act. I highly encourage participation, and if you can't participate when they are scheduled, they are recording those sessions, and at some point you should be able to access them all online. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Womack.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say I'm very happy that in Kent County, we are increasing our testing capacity with a large pharmacy that's come aboard to help do some free testing in our area, as well as one of our hospitals that's added some testing. And of course, Cherry Health, one of our partners with Kent County, continue to do what they do in testing. And some of those things are gonna be reasons why our governor may be able to lift some of these restrictions tomorrow and some of next week. I'm also proud of all of our commissioners, from Jim Talent to what we just heard from Commissioner Antor and what he's working on for the veterans. But I've just got a chance to learn that we got some great leadership here in West Michigan, and just want to remind all the commissioners to make sure you look out for your health as you're out there on your calls of duty, helping all your constituents. And I just have all my colleagues in my prayer in this entire county, but I really want to give a shout out to our staff too, with Wayman Britt and all of our department heads, and Adam London with the Kent County Health Department. The work that they've been on, they don't show the stress. Is not nothing we can see, but we already know their large workload. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all our department heads, especially our sheriff's department, where we're one of the few county jails that don't have one case of coronavirus. And so our sheriff's department and our entire county for being proactive when it comes to viruses. Even back when we were facing SARS and I wasn't even on the county commission and I was studying it, I saw the great work that was being done for that virus, and it's paying off now in our county jail. So I just want to thank everybody in the county for the extra work you're putting in to help keep our people safe here in West Michigan. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Womack. Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had another question that came up during this discussion. If someone from the health department can answer this, if they're on the call. I noticed, and a few of us noticed through the daily updates, that we did experience a fairly significant increase in positive cases yesterday. Mind you, we had been told previously that the expansion of testing to those with mild symptoms could lead to this. And so I wondered, were there any other data points to suggest that this increase is purely or primarily due to expanded testing? Has there been an increase in inpatient admission in hospitals? Has there been an increase in any of the other data points we're reviewing to see how this virus is progressing? Or are we fairly confident that this increase is more due to the expansion of testing? So we're seeing more clearly how pervasive the virus is in our community.
Is there anyone here from the health department?
Chair Walter, I am here.
The most popular guy in Kent County right now, Dr. London.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate all of the comments, and our team is working very, very hard right now. I do believe that the primary reason for the increase in cases over the past few days has been the increase of testing. A few weeks ago, there were only a few dozen tests being done every day. That increased to a couple of hundred tests a few weeks ago, and now we're at about 750 to 800 tests for Kent County residents being conducted every day. We've also done some very targeted virus hunting, that I call it, where we're looking at our most vulnerable congregate living settings where we know people are at greater risk, the type of places that a virus can easily be spread in, whether that's a long-term nursing home or a shelter for the homeless. These are places that once the virus gets its claws dug in, it's hard to get out. And so we've been testing those sorts of places, and we have found a much higher rate of infection in those types of places, which has also empowered us to isolate those who are sick and separate them from those who are not infected. So hopefully we'll prevent any very intense clusters of illness in those settings, and also lower the risk for the rest of the community. So I do believe that the main reason for our increase over the past few days has been greater accessibility and more targeted testing. I also, however, think that the prevalence of the disease, of the illness, continues to creep up slowly. We've seen what we call the test positivity rate increase a bit over the past week or so. We went from about 5% of our tests coming back positive, now overall to about 11%. In some of those most intense settings, we're seeing almost 30%. So we are seeing an increase in some areas of the virus's prevalence, but mostly it's because we're doing a much better job looking for it and making tests available.
Thank you, Dr. London. Any other miscellaneous today? All right. I have a couple things. I do want to quickly ask the clerk if she would give us kind of a quick update on the May election. Just a lot of us don't know all the details or if things have changed. So just if you could give us a quick update on that.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. We are within less than 2 weeks from our May 5th election. There are 7 school districts that have a ballot proposal, ballot questions going before voters. Initially, we had 8 school districts. However, the schools were given a couple different opportunities to withdraw their questions for this May ballot and move them to August. One did choose to do so, that was Cedar Springs. 7 chose to remain on the ballot, and that means we have 11 jurisdictions who have an election in May. The governor issued an executive order that encouraged the election to be conducted primarily through absentee voting. So every voter in these jurisdictions that has an election was sent an unsolicited absentee ballot application by the state. In addition to that, there will be one precinct open, at least one precinct open per jurisdiction, so that voters with disabilities can come in and use the voter assist terminal to cast their ballot, as well as any individual voter who prefers to go to the polling location and cast their ballot. I want to be clear with that, though this won't be the typical polling location where you get a ballot, you cast your vote and you feed it into the tabulator and watch your ballot get counted. They are going to be essentially giving individuals who go to the polling location an absentee ballot envelope. So they'll their ballot, put it in an absentee ballot envelope, and it will be counted later during the absentee counting board along with the rest of the absentee ballots. The state is shipping the local clerks the PPE that's requested by them. And there will be, obviously we'll be adhering to CDC guidelines for social distancing and hygiene, and making sure we're doing our best to keep to keep the areas clean and sanitized. We do at this point have enough workers to cover the election on May 5th, utilizing our own ranks. So, these workers have been trained by Kent County, and we don't expect or foresee any issues with a worker shortage in this election. We can expect there to be, at this point, there is 2 times the amount of turnout as an average May election. So this will be a higher than average turnout going forward for the rest of, until election day. So we don't know, obviously, how long this is going to, impact our community. And so we don't really have a good gauge as to what to expect for August, with that being such a larger election than the May election. So we continue to monitor the situation and make sure that whatever we do, we keep the election safe and secure.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, I have a couple of just a few little announcements. The first one I want to make is I want to acknowledge our new commissioner that joined us this commission meeting, Commissioner Lindsay Teal. Welcome. Sorry I didn't acknowledge that at the beginning of the meeting, but thank you for your service, and I just wanted to welcome you to the board. Next, I want to acknowledge Commissioner Antor's work with veterans. It's just amazing. I love seeing your posts, dropping stuff off with your mask, and it's just amazing the work you do. And also want to acknowledge Commissioner Ponstein, and I'm probably going to screw this up, but I think he's the only deemed essential worker on our committee, on our commission. I'm not sure of that. I think we're all essential, but I really want to acknowledge Commissioner Ponstein, and he and all the essential workers are in my prayers, and I just want to acknowledge him. I want to thank our staff for really transitioning over to complete turnaround on everything we've been doing. This was fairly smooth today compared to last board meeting. I really appreciate that. I want to acknowledge, obviously, our health department, Dr. London, and your team and all you're doing. And just thank the board members. Thank you guys. I want to also acknowledge that when I called everyone last week about the pay raise, the pay rejection of the pay raise, no one mentioned anything. So no one had a problem. Everyone agreed that this was the right thing to do, and I want everyone to know that this was the right thing in my mind to do, and that's why I wanted to put it on our agenda. I just think that we have to be mindful of what's happening and how everyone's been affected in our community. I also want to acknowledge Commissioner Womack. He has also told me he's deemed essential. So as a media, you're always essential to us, but you are also deemed essential. And then lastly, we did have a budget projection update today with executive committee. I am very concerned about the possibility of revenue sharing getting cut. I mean, all of our revenue streams are obviously going to be affected, but that one is quite large, and I hope that we all can advocate to our legislators. They are going to have very, very tough decisions to make moving forward, and I really hope that we can continue to advocate for the county for revenue sharing. So with that, I will call on Commissioner Coleman for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I move to adjourn, subject to the call of the chair, to Thursday, May the 14th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman, noting that's an evening meeting. Moved by Commissioner Coleman, support by?
Support by Wooden.
Commissioner Wooden. Any concern, comments? Seeing none. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.